Our house was not built of bricks and mortar, but of whispers and sighs. It was a theater, and I was born onto its stage, always in the wings, never the spotlight. The curtains kept the world out, or maybe kept us in. I learned my lines before I learned to speak my own words. My role, a supporting player in a drama that began long before me. The spotlight belonged to her, leaving the rest of us in half-light, waiting for our cues. I moved through the rooms like a ghost, a silent observer. The kitchen was fragile peace, the living room a hall of judgment, my bedroom a shadowed corner for pretending. The air was thick with unspoken rules. Don't be loud, don't take up space, don't shine too brightly. I folded myself smaller and smaller, laughter and tears hidden, presence nearly invisible. She was the sun. I was a small planet, orbiting, my own light a secret flicker. I learned to live in her shadow, believing it was the only place I belonged. Love in our house was a drought, broken by unpredictable downpours. You learned to be thirsty, to wait. Kindness was currency, earned through perfect performance. I hoarded every small smile, every brief touch, my secret treasures. Affection was always in short supply, and I was always in debt. I tidied her messes, absorbed her sorrows, anticipated her needs. Sometimes, if I played my part perfectly, I'd get a fleeting moment of warmth, a hand on my hair. It was everything. It was never enough. The cost was immense. Walking on eggshells, every word a risk. A wrong move, and the warmth vanished, replaced by cold silence. I'd retrace my steps, searching for my mistake. Love was conditional, a prize to be won, not a place to rest. I learned I was not inherently worthy of affection. I had to prove my worth every day. The performance never ended. Applause was a fleeting kindness I chased with a hollow heart. Our home revolved around her, a single, blazing star. My purpose to reflect her light, not to have my own seasons. My joy was only allowed if it amplified hers. My sadness, an inconvenience. So I became a mirror, flawless, showing her only what she wanted to see. My own face, my own feelings, hidden behind the glass. My needs were whispers in a hurricane, packed away in the attic of my soul. To ask for something was to risk disturbing her universe. I became a chameleon, changing with her moods, applause when she was bright, a vessel for her sorrow when she was low. I lost track of my own colors, my own self, just shades borrowed from her. This act of mirroring was self-erasure. My reflection grew fainter each day. I thought this was love, what it meant to be good, to sacrifice my light for hers. I didn't realize I was letting my own world fall into darkness. I was a mirror reflecting an empty room. To survive, I mastered the art of being small. I folded my edges in, made my voice a murmur, my presence a question. I moved with carefulness, as if my existence was an inconvenience. I learned to walk without sound, to breathe without notice. My brightness was dangerous, a challenge to her shadow. So I dimmed my light, tucked my passions away, muted my laughter. I became a moon, glowing only with borrowed light. Shrinking was protection, a shield against her moods. If I was small, I was less of a target. If I had no dreams, they couldn't be mocked. But the fortress I built kept me trapped as much as it kept her out. I began to believe smallness was my true nature. The vibrant girl who loved to sing became a stranger. I had shrunk myself to comfort her emptiness, nearly becoming empty myself. For years, the mirror I held up was flawless, reflecting her world, her pain. My own identity faded, a ghost behind the glass. I believed my purpose was to reflect, absorb, soothe. But even the best-kept mirrors crack. It started with a question. Why does the sun feel so cold? The cracks spread with every new realization. A friend's gentle mother, a book's brave character, a moment of joy that was mine alone. Each was a tap on the glass, the fractures growing. For the first time, I saw her as flawed and fragile, not a sun to be orbited. The final break came with a careless word, a dismissal of my hope. This time it didn't just hurt, it angered me. In that flash, the mirror shattered. The reflection fell away in 1,000 sharp pieces. And standing there, amidst the wreckage, was me. Not the echo, but me. I saw the emptiness she'd poured into me was never mine. It was hers. The shattering of the mirror was terrifying, but the silence after was sharp and clear. I stood in the debris of my old self, seeing the weight I'd carried as something I could finally set down. Letting go wasn't a single act, but a gradual unclenching. I chose not to absorb her moods, not to answer her sighs, to feel my own joy even in gloom. Each act was a small unburdening, a quiet rebellion. The old habits screamed at me, guilt lingered, but I learned the language of no. No, I cannot carry your sadness today. No, I will not dim my light. Each no was a step away from the wreckage, toward a new land. This was not war, but independence, a boundary drawn around my soul. On one side, her shadow. On the other, me. A person ready to exist for my own sake, under my own light. After the unburdening, there was a quiet, empty space where the stage had been. It felt barren, but it was mine. I decided to plant a garden, a small act of hope. I chose flowers for their simple joy, not for anyone else. My hands plunged into the soil. It was real, solid, a foundation. This was not a stage or a reflection, but the ground beneath my feet. I was not performing, I was creating. With each seed I made a promise to myself, to grow, to take up space, to reach for the light. This garden was a declaration. It was my land. I planted resilience, lavender for peace, rosemary for remembrance, marigolds for happiness. This was not her garden, filled with demanding roses. This was mine, small, simple, and real. A place to be messy, to make mistakes, to learn. It was the first chapter of a story that was finally my own. Here I could be myself, unapologetically. I was planting my own name in the soil. The garden became my sanctuary, my daily ritual of healing. I learned to read the needs of my plants, nurturing life for its own sake. In caring for them, I learned to nurture myself. Growth was not perfect or linear. Some seeds didn't sprout, some plants withered. The garden taught me to clear away what was dead, to plant anew without judgment. My own roots deepened as I pulled weeds, old beliefs about not being enough, about having to earn my place. The soil of my being became rich and fertile again. I learned to give myself water, seek sunlight, rest when weary. The first buds appeared, a miracle, a promise. I hadn't forced it, I'd simply created the right conditions. Seeing that first bloom was proof. Something beautiful could grow from the ground I claimed for myself. It was my own bloom, born of patience and self-care. I was finally learning to thrive. Today the garden is a riot of life. Lavender fragrant, marigolds blazing. It thrives, and so do I. I no longer walk on eggshells, but on solid ground I call my own. The House of Echoes is a distant memory. Her shadow no longer dictates my light. Sometimes I feel its cool edge, but I turn my face to the sun. The sun is not a person. It shines for everyone, for the grandest trees and the smallest flowers. It shines for me. My voice is no longer a whisper. Sometimes I sing in my garden. I am not a mirror, but a person with my own thoughts, feelings, and messy, beautiful life. I am not shrinking anymore. I am reaching, stretching toward the light. The emptiness was never mine to fill, and I have given it back. My hands are covered in soil, tending to my own life. I am planting a garden in my own name, a slow, beautiful, healing thing. Here, in this place I have made for myself, I am finally learning to grow.